Should be live. Okay, look like we're filing in. Let some more brothers go ahead and come in. All right, Kyle. Peace, King. Get some rest, brother. All right, let me see. Drop this link real quick. Let me see how to.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hold on, my headset is something fucking my headset.
Okay. Okay.
Rewind. Is it rewind? Oh no, that's edgeways and road. Yeah, it's like oh my bad, bro. I'm loud. No, it's just one, bro. It's just the one on the wall side. Yeah, I'm positive, 100%. If they both rewinds, we'll rewind it. Yeah, I don't. It's 6 o'clock, so it don't matter. Yeah, fact. I can't hear me now.
I got you.
Oh, facts. My bad, bro. I was handling some shit. Hey,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
is
no
this gonna
problem.
be the spot? This gonna be the after party spot?
This gonna be the spot. 3
Okay,
o'clock
okay,
in the
okay.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, baby.
Okay, it's 6 here. Hey, but I've been following you for a while though. I've been following you as my other shit, Marquise. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes, sir.
I've been
Yes, sir.
following your shit for a while. You know, I didn't even know you had a second channel. You know, but yeah, man, let's talk this boxing, man. Um, I heard y'all. I heard them talking about like the money. Like you know how they was talking about how like I'm kind of ignorant to it, but it seems as if like the MMA money is like they all, as far as like sponsorships and shit like that, like they gotta follow suit with the company. I feel like that's like a weakness in their what's it call it in their business because them dudes like they not getting the money that they should be getting. Like had they been getting sponsored by like had they been getting the sponsors themselves, like don't Tank David, which one of them fighters got a sponsor with a clothing design? Was it Tank or was it
No, it was
or was it
AB. AB had Fashion Nova.
Fashion Over? There you go. Yeah, true. And you so and he was probably I don't want to talk in parables because I don't want to say probably. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yes,
feel
sir.
like when you working for a company, let's say you work under or I work under your company and your company's sponsored by Reebok. That's not the same
Right.
as me getting sponsored by Reebok. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Because now the company is paying the whole group,
Yeah,
and whoever's running the company that the company is sponsoring can dish out the money. I feel you.
yeah. And I feel like the MMA is built like a plantation versus boxing is built like a franchise. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
the
Right.
each
Independent
fight.
contractors, so to speak.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Exactly. And I wanted to get that out there earlier, but I just ran into a bunch of stuff at work. Like niggas be acting like they don't know how to do their job and shit.
Right. 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 Well, see,
But yeah,
I was had this conversation. I think it was last night actually, with someone. We was talking about the money in boxing, right?
yeah.
And I was saying, first of all, one of my points is I don't think as fans we should even be involved in that.
Nah, I'd be
And that should,
uncomfortable talking about that for real.
yeah, because if you want to get really technical about it, right? Like just say this Crawford Spence situation. This
Yeah.
dude's guarantee is 1.4, 1.5, 2 mil, shit like that, right?
Mm.
Ali was making that in 71.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
not making no money. You feel me?
Yeah.
To be calling yourself the cash cow, the big fish.
But
300
they
pay-per-view buys is not bad. It's not good. I don't care what nobody says. That's not good as far as pay-per-view goes.
yeah. But we'll never see. You think we'll ever see the million and 2 million again with these guys? You think we'll see? You know, who's good enough or who's pop? Because it doesn't go by skill. Who's popular enough to take us back to the millions, the 2 millions? You know
I'm
what I'm
gonna tell
saying?
you. I'm gonna say this, and you gonna say I'm crazy, but I'm gonna say this.
Nah. It's just your opinion. It's your opinion, bro. I never
That
shit on a
a
niggas.
if that AJ Fury fight happens, that's a
Mm-hmm.
million paper. That's a million pay-per-view buys. That's a million.
Uh, I don't know.
I,
I don't know.
that's a million.
In my personal opinion, I don't think AJ has never done a million pay-per-view buys.
No, he hasn't, but he will this time because it's
Right.
undisputed. Because it's undisputed. That's why people are tuning in.
And I don't see, and I like AJ. I like Anthony, and I'm one of the few American boxing fans that have come out and say I like Anthony Joshua as a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like his skill as a heavyweight fighter is pretty good. But
Right.
I don't think I think he's been gassed, bro. I don't think his popularity is as high as people think it is. I don't think as far as like the fight with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, I don't think that fight is big. I don't think that fight is big outside of the hardcore boxing fans in the UK. Or
But
else
see here,
they would have big individual numbers.
here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, and you just hit the nail on the head. Us hardcore boxing fans know who AJ is.
Hell yeah.
Most of the public don't.
Okay, so let me ask y'all this.
Yes, sir.
we're saying that in today's day, we don't know who's, or we have to. Basically, what we're saying is this: the way money is made today is differently, right? And then we have to take into consideration moving forward a post-COVID business model. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So is it fair to say that we're going to have to, in a lot of ways, recalibrate as boxing fans our expectations on what it is in the new day, what a pay-per-view star is, what a cash cow is? What do you guys think about that? You know what I'm saying? Is it and if we're going to have to recalibrate it, when do we start to recalibrate our expectations on that, so that we're not disrespecting these athletes who are making the best deals that they're going to be able to make post COVID or in this COVID era of boxing? We already see that the days of the multi-million-dollar pay-per-view, unless it's a super mega fight, it seems to be something that's a thing of the past.
Right.
With people out of jobs and the financial state of not only the country but the world. We talk about the AJ Fury fight, but this pandemic is a global issue, and so
yes.
With that being said, is it the AJ fight versus Fury fight that's going to be the recalibration of it, or is it another fight out there that you guys see, even if it's not an international fight, that is going to be something that we say, all right, that's going to be the standard, or I can see that fight being the standard of the new bar that's going to be set when it comes to who is making money? Because right now we see it as Saul Alvarez and whoever he fights is going to be the money guy. And the only thing next to Alvarez is Manny Pacquiao, and his future seems to be uncertain at the moment. What do you guys think about that?
Well, you got to take into account too. The streaming and piracy. That's what kills the numbers, because a lot of people are gonna watch the fight, but they're not gonna pay for it. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People are gonna stream it, and that's gonna kill the pay-per-view numbers.
And that's why I started giving out pay-per-views on my channel, because I want to help build boxing. I don't want to steal boxing. Because if you keep stealing it, they're gonna take it away. They're gonna be ending up with bullshit.
Right, but most of us hardcore fans who really love boxing or MMA and want to support boxing or MMA are gonna spend our money, because we know this is the money that pays the guys that's giving us the entertainment. You see what I'm saying? But most people aren't gonna think like that. They're gonna try to get something for nothing, like most people do. You feel what I'm saying? So we got to take that into account. But to the second part of your question, Sweet Science Examiner, the second part of your question is, I think that that Crawford Spence fight is a big fight in America. That's the biggest fight in America. The Tyson Fury AJ fight is a global event, but that Spence Crawford fight is the biggest fight in America, and I think in America it's going to do huge numbers if it ever happens.
And with you saying that, because you took the words right out my mouth, with you saying that, I think that's going to be the barometer fight. Whatever, because, we are all calling it the biggest fight in the world. We called the AJ and Fury fight the biggest fight in the world at the time. And how many pay-per-views that first fight do? That pay-per-view, it didn't crack a million, did it? It did the biggest gate, but they didn't say crack a million pay-per-views.
Did not. It did not.
Okay, and then you got Manny Pacquiao, who's one of the most popular fighters in boxing history, who just fought for the WBA welterweight champion. Did that fight crack a million?
No, none of his recent fights did, except for
600,000.
Except for Floyd, and he had a fight with Marquez. Those Marquez fights all cracked a million, and his Floyd fight cracked a million.
So he has about five 1 million pay-per-view fights, 1 million by pay-per-view fights. So if a person that has 1 million pay-per-view buy fights can't crack the million in this climate, that means us as hardcore boxing fans, I feel like it's a responsibility to us to lower the actual standard of what we call a successful pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? Like if your averages go down, and just like you got to forecast they forecasting these pay-per-views. These guys is behind this money know that they fighters only bring in 300. I'm just saying 300 or 400,000 only. Like that ain't a lot of paper because the price point is $75. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people don't realize. We're not gonna get no more Floyd. Floyd robbed the bank.
Right.
If you think this bank gonna let another Floyd rob it? No.
That's facts. That's facts, brother. That's facts.
That robber got to be white. I hate to say it. They trying to make Tyson Fury rob the bank, but Tyson Fury just can't rob the bank. He's scared of Wilder. You know what I'm saying?
I think if there's anybody that's going to be able to rob the bank, moving forward, right now as we see it, it's going to take a particular business model in the office, as opposed to only relying on your abilities in the ring. You pointed out that they try to make Fury that guy.
Yeah, I feel like once
let me touch on that. Let me touch on that because before you elaborate, the difference is that if you look at Fury historically speaking as an in-ring performer, and read what the boxing media has said about him, he is not. I repeat, he is not a fighter that whose style was beloved because of the division that he fights in. They try to relay him to or make him comparable to Muhammad Ali, and we're not going to get into the debate on if his name should be in the same conversation as Ali. The point that I'm trying to make is they try to make his style comparable in terms of his ability to avoid getting hit. And the difference is the way that Ali fought was an exciting style offensively as well. And Tyson Fury does not fit that bill. And historically speaking, he has not fit that bill. He has been on multiple occasions been accused of being quote unquote pillow fisted. This is not me. This is not Tank the Sweet Science Examiner. This is not my platform saying this. This is what the boxing writers and several of Tyson Fury's own opponents have said about him after fighting him. So with that being said, I don't believe that he, even if they could try to manipulate him into being that cash cow, it would work because of his style being what it is at the heavyweight division. The heavyweight division is a division that has historically been catered to and been known for being a division where you want to see guys get knocked out, knocked around, knocked down, and hurt. Do you guys disagree with that? And if so, elaborate. If not, elaborate. And then the second part of that is because usually it's always been the lower divisions, your Ray Robinsons, your Henry Armstrongs, your Mayweathers and Roy Joneses. And if that's the case, I mean, of course, the Pacquiao and Oscar De La Hoya. But if that's the case, where do we see in these lower weight classes that can step up and take over that position moving forward? Because if we're going to say that Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford were supposed to be that, these guys don't seem interested in fighting each other genuinely. Yes, you can say that one seems more interested than the other, but even the person that seems more interested than the other doesn't seem all that interested in making the fight. He seems more interested in making the fight at another weight class. And if that's the case, who are we looking at? Is it Gervonta Davis? Is it Devin Haney? Is it Teofimo Lopez? Who Ryan Garcia? And the reason I bring those four names up is because those are the names that we've seen being able to be around the money where people are talking about the future of boxing. Or is there somebody else that you guys want to throw in? Go ahead.
Oh, you want to go, brother?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Well,
it don't matter. Just let's go one at a time so we can, everybody that's on the
Yeah, I wanted to make sure he wanted to go before me.
Yeah. It's funny because what you saying, Tank? Today, I just watched Ali Frazier 3, right? And I look at that fight, and then I go forward from 75 to now. To me, it's a damn shame that from 75 to now, I can only think of maybe 2, 3 fights that even came close to that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm watching the fight from 40 fucking years ago. So it's going to be hard. I just don't see anybody with that level of skill and toughness in this era. I just don't. And that's what drew me into boxing, stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead, Hustler.
As far as like marketing goes, as far as like, cause you gotta think about it. Muhammad, well, not at the time, but to black people, Muhammad, well, at the time, to black people, Muhammad Ali was an absolute freaking hero. You know what I'm saying? Black people love Muhammad Ali. You know, and like now, you know, I think a bunch of the guys that we wanted to put on the pedestal have tainted their names by throwing dirt in our face by bullshitting. You know what I'm saying? Part of my French. But that's one of the reasons why I don't see. And I'm going to say, hopefully, Jerron Boots Ennis is the person that brings boxing back to where it should be. Because the
That's
guys we got
facts.
now,
That's facts.
yeah, although they're good, although a lot of them are good, skilled fighters, you know, but they have tarnished their names by lying in public, being caught lying in public, um, posturing as if they was giving people fights that they're asking for, going on the YouTube channels and debating contracts, even though they know that they don't got no contract out. You know, you got people. I'm not gonna say any names. You know, as far as like the promoters and stuff coming on here, just flat out lying to the people, and then since we have integrity, we assume these people have integrity. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I don't subscribe to the um argument of like between people the boxing fans have like between PBC and all that, because I feel like they're all in cahoots, because I like you don't see Bob Arum coming out here saying nothing about nothing bad about Al Heyman no more. You know what I'm saying? Because first he was on some shit like he was the worst shit in boxing. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear now, you hear he talking pretty casual about Al Heyman, which lets me know that they have words behind closed doors. They're not gonna tell us real shit about what they talk about in private. I said this last night. It wouldn't surprise me if Earl and Crawford was in this together, talking about because it's a reverse psychology. This dude saying, I don't want to fight Earl no more. You know what that's going to bring? It's going to bring people asking questions over and over and over again. What about Earl? What about Earl? What about Earl? And it's going to give them time to give us lesser fights so they can pad their own pockets. And then eventually they may or may not fight each other. You know what I'm saying? In a year from now, in 2021, Terence Crawford's going to be what, 35? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to be an old nigga fighting. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion. You know, I'm going to spend my time. Oh,
Santos, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here now, man. I had to speak with the missus for a minute, and then when I came over, I was having some technical difficulties.
yeah, essentially, thank you for subscribing too, bro.
Oh, no problem, bro. No problem. I'm trying to get everybody. Sometimes I don't catch the names right off, man, and or either I'm busy doing something and I don't go right over and subscribe, because that's what I usually try to do. But yeah, man.
Go ahead, cook on that, Santos.
We got what was the topic again? I just got back in and I missed it.
What is going to be the new barometer to bring boxing back to the status it deserves?
And which group of fighters, which fights are going to be able to do that? Because where we were going was, are we going to have to post-COVID recalibrate our ideas of what a big fight is, whether it's pay-per-view, these streaming devices, or purse bids and purse equity, and all these different types of things that in the past were these astronomical numbers, whether it be 1 million pay-per-views, $20 million fight deals, and these kind of things like that. Is that a thing of the past post-COVID, since it's a global pandemic and people are displaced from work, some people from home, et cetera, and who will be the group of fighters that we're going to be able to say is going to reset the barometer, who we're going to be able to look at and say, okay, this is the new way to look at. That's a lot of money now. If you can make instead of $20 million contract, a $10 million contract, or we're seeing guys who are getting fights for $2 and $3 million, and we're saying, damn, that's a good fight. That's a lot of money. You know what I mean? Not too long ago, we just saw Sean Porter saying that $1 million, $2 million was an insult to him, but that was during a era of people, no fans in the stadium. Do we see fans flooding the stadiums again? Do we even see that possible? What are we seeing moving forward from your opinion, Santos?
Well, as far as will boxing get back to the old with the barometer that it used to have? I don't know. I don't think we have enough fighters today with the whole overall personality, well, the whole makeup of what we view as the kind of fighters that we used to see right now. The only person that comes close in my mind is Deontay Wilder. He's like the closest thing I think that can get us to the old, he's the only one I think that can, when before he lost, and he probably still can since he's had his loss. I think he can still do it. He's the only one I think that can get the big fights on pay-per-view. Whereas Meal Plus, he's the only one with the personality, I think, that make people want to watch him. He's the only one that's pretty much authentic about who he is himself. And he's one of the few, if not the only one, I don't hear whining about the money, except he went through a little thing with Joshua, but that was understandable. But other than that, when he's the A fighter, I don't hear him. You don't hear much discussion negatively about money in his fight, especially without, I didn't hear it with Ortiz, Dominique Brazil, nor Tyson Fury. Never heard of any of that. All the other guys he fought. The only time I ever heard anything about an issue with money is when he was trying to get the fight with Joshua, and they didn't want to break bread with him in a respectful way. And he still, was willing to take the $15 million after his team had offered $50 million guaranteed. So that tells me that he's a gladiator and he wants to fight, give people the fights, But and I like Earl, I like Terrence. Bud to me hadn't really cried as much. To me, Bud's situation is similar to what Deontay Wilder went through with Joshua when it comes down to him and Spence fighting. But Spence is putting a lot of emphasis on percentages and all that stuff, and I think that's bad for boxing. I don't think that needs to be discussed publicly, as I've stated so many times here lately. I think they need to keep that amongst themselves, keep us fans out of that part of it, and just give us the fights. But the rest of the guys, we got a lot of great fighters out there, a lot of great fighters with a lot of abilities, a lot of star quality. But I don't see anyone that could possibly bring us back to bringing numbers in to where, spectator numbers to where it used to be. Plus, streaming is so big now versus the past. That's going to cut into it. But if you got a person that's got a following like a Mayweather, or somewhere close like a Pacquiao Mayweather type situation, you can get a lot of views with iconic fighters like that because of what they've done. Even though it took a long time for us to get that fight, once they got the money agreed upon, it was, you didn't even really hear anything about money anymore from that point there. But fans never got into the war about who should get what with that fight too much. From what I recall, now we got these promoters out here. Uh, you got some promoters doing right by the fighters. You got some that's not doing so right by the fighters, and they got to change too. If the promoters could change, the fighters change. So we got, in my opinion, we got too many fighters that was breastfed by their mamas, and they don't want to get off the titty now. And we don't have the guys. See, a lot of guys back in the day when we were all coming up and before us, there was real poverty out there in the neighborhoods, and the people really were hungry to do better. And they wanted to work hard by any means necessary and get it, the best way they could. So you take a guy who's coming from the hood, had nothing. He's gonna, he's ready to die in that ring to get to make that fight happen. And then once he start making money, he still might have a little, a little bit of that in him, and he's gonna give you his heart in the ring. We don't have enough of that right now because the guys coming up now. When I boxed I just had a little stint as an amateur. All of us were poor guys. We all piled up in the same vehicle, best way we could, and they took us around where we had to fight at. We didn't have matching gear as far as sneakers, boxing shoes to work, boxing. We didn't have matching gloves. We just reached in the box or bag or cage or whatever they had, crate, and get what gloves we could out of there. We didn't have a lot of pretty stuff to look pretty. You know what I'm saying? Some teams were more outfitted than others. But nowadays, these amateurs, they're outfitted to the T. They got, as they grow up in boxing, they got all kind of benefits coming their way where they, don't have to worry about too much for money and stuff. More sponsors are more readily available nowadays versus when I was a kid. So a lot of these fighters don't see the struggle that the old fighters of old have seen. So until they, somebody really have to grind for everything, they're not going to know what it's like, and then, like I said, the promoters, they got to change what they've been doing because the fighters are more educated now than they've ever been about the money, the business side of things. And then we got media, social media. That's a hindrance on boxing, believe it or not, even though I love it, but it's a hindrance on boxing because it's keeping us from getting some of the fights we should get. But at the same time, I think it also helps make the fight game what it is as far as awareness, and help guys to communicate directly with their fans, So the only person I think that can help change as far as the fighter, I think Deontay Wilder has what it takes for a fighter to genuinely be able to pull in consistently, fight after fight, a million plus views as far as pay-per-view. I think if his name is not on the bill now, of course, Tyson and Fury, that fight will generate a lot because those UK folks, they're gonna support it come hell or high water, and then you got other countries that's gonna support the fight as well, and they'll get a few views from over here as well because still fight fans here. But naturally, I think Deontay Wilder's name on the card is opposite of any other fighter is gonna bring in some views because everyone knows he's knocking folks out 9 times out of 10, and that's what they want to see. And he's a genuine person. I just don't see a whole lot of. We had so many greats back in the day that from in every weight division that was just grinders. Didn't care how hard it was. They just want to be a part of it and get it over with, and go to the next guy. We got great fighters now in multiple weight divisions, but they get too caught up in who's getting the most money publicly, in my opinion. So I guess I don't have a true answer, but I will put my money on Deontay Wilder to be able to help the sport to get back to what we used to see.
Tank.
All right, so go ahead.
For you. And you know what else is going to hurt boxing a whole lot? that John Jones and Gami fight, because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a war, and it's going to be a great fight, and that's going to be another black eye for boxing, in my opinion.
That's assuming that fight gets made though too, because there seems to be some posturing on the UFC side already in that regard, from what I'm seeing, with even Dana White speaking on it, in the infant stages of negotiations with that one. So, you know, I agree that MMA getting fights made and the quality of those fights will have a hindrance. But even those ones, are we looking at MMA, regardless of whatever federation and promotional company, are they doing the old style that they were even doing in the past in terms of their numbers?
They doing way better now.
Post COVID, they're doing more. They're doing better in the pay-per-views and.
Oh no, I thought you were talking about back in
contracts.
the day. I'm sorry, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
You know what I mean? Because that's what we're talking about. My thing is, I'm just wondering if we are in an age where we got to get out of our mind that whole $1 million pay-per-view number. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
I'm wondering if we have to get past the $1 million pay-per-view number being the barometer for, well, if you didn't get $1 million pay-per-view buys, then it wasn't successful, or it was successful, or however you want to look at it. I'm wondering if we're past that, and if so, what would it be? Is it a 500,000 pay-per-views, 800,000? You know what I mean? Because at the rate that we're all bringing up the fact that we are in the streaming area, and even though many people streamed Mayweather versus Pacquiao, that was still at the tail end of the pay-per-view era, where people were still kind of apprehensive of getting streaming pay-per-view fights. You know what I mean? Now, I would say that is the normal. Would you guys say that?
Yes.
As far as streaming, like people will try to stream something before they pay for it. And now it's whereas I think before it was like, hey, let's get the pay-per-view, and if we can't get the pay-per-view, we'll stream it. And I think now it's let's stream it, but if we can't get a good stream that's not all choppy and buffering, then we'll buy the pay-per-view. I think it's like totally flipped.
Yes,
but that's
you're absolutely right.
What do y'all
think? You're absolutely right.
You hit the nail right on the head, brother. Right directly on the head. Like, I couldn't even say it better myself. You know what I'm saying? And then, look, but I'm gonna ask you a question about that though. Because I like back in the day, it was a closed circuit TV. I ain't even gonna go into no details like that because I ain't got time. It ain't that much time in the day. But I feel like it's up to the fans, man. Like, bottom line is up to the fans and to us too. We gotta, especially us that got channels that's trying to bring in boxing fans, trying to bring in boxing fans both new and old. We got to have the responsibility of not ever, I ain't gonna say not ever, but I'm guilty of this too, not talking shit about boxing. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though we sick of it, for
right.
a casual to hear hardcore fans come on, like imagine if somebody came onto a stream for the first time, curious about what the boxing world is talking about, and hear astute boxing fans sit here and talk about how shitty it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, sir.
We should have a rapport towards boxing as if we really loved them. You know what I'm saying? If your son was a drug addict, you still love that nigga. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like
you're not gonna tell him, man, junkie, get your ass out the house. It's gonna be like,
exactly.
Hey, look, son, these are the treatments that we're gonna get. These are here's the opportunities. We can go through some 12-step meetings. Your cousin was on it. He got off. Want to talk to him? Let's get you a sponsor if you really want to get better.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I also feel like in order for y'all seem like y'all a little bit older than me. I mean, I'm 36, so I don't know how old y'all are. but y'all older than me, so y'all lived in, like, to me, at what I call the real man's man era, right? And I grew up in
Right.
the just a regular, you know what I'm saying, man's man era. And then these fighters is coming up now, they're 20 years old. I mean, I don't want to get political, but everybody now is more liberal and more okay. So when I was in the Navy, when I was getting out of the Navy in 2005, they had these shits called stress cards so they can give people. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't really
Yeah.
beat a person for acting up because you got stress cards. So we're in a more kinder, gentler world we live in now. And I think the promoters like Bob Arum is from the man's man era. You get how you live. And the promoter's gonna have to crack. In order to improve boxing, the promoter is gonna have to crack. The promoter's gonna have to open the book to boxing to the boxers. This is what I feel like the future is gonna be. They're gonna have to negotiate with the boxers. Because I don't feel like Muhammad Ali was in no negotiating room. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like Mike Tyson was in no negotiating room. Just imagine how many closed circuit buys Mike Tyson had in order for him to get that many millions of dollars, bro. That's never going to happen again. That's never going to happen again. Never. And that's all I really got to say.
I agree. I agree. Great points. I agree. I'm in my 40s, and I could totally see. I always say, I work with at-risk minors in the mental health field in schools, and I would always tell my students who would respectfully call me OG, and a lot of these at-risk minors were in and out, have already been in and out the system, in and out of juvie. They were the epitome of what we know today as being a part of the classroom to prison pipeline, right? The school to prison pipeline, however you want to phrase it. And when I would have to communicate with them, I would have to reach them at an understanding where they were, and a lot of them were at an understanding of street level talk, living the life that they were living in between. And I'm just saying how it is. They were going to school in their minds in between sentences of being sent back to juvenile hall. And I even had students that were in my senior classes who were upwards of the age of even 21 years old because they had been held behind so many times because they were in and out of the system and kicked from this district to that district. And I always joked around with them and told them that I was born in the last great decade, which was the 70s. Even though it was the tail end of the 70s, being in my 40s. To your point about the man's man, like if you go look at the imagery of Richard Roundtree and these guys back then, it was a lot of masculine energy. And then when we came into the crack epidemic and the hood gangsterism aspect, even moving into the 80s, we see that male androgynistic Prince, Michael Jackson era, if you will, where it was like a lot of weird stuff, even at that, and even in the mid 70s. But to your point about being the that man's man kind of thing, we're in an era where we went from, or I've lived in an era where we went from it being a compliment to be like that's a man's man, to living in an era where they say a phrase that seems oxymoronic, and this is an age of toxic masculinity, if that makes any sense to y'all. So that's to your point. You know what I mean? I'm hearing shit like that. Like, what the hell is toxic masculinity? You know what I'm saying? When I was growing up, it was the thing to be was be a man's man. You know what I mean? And now, if you are a man's man, you're seen as someone who's a part of the problem. But with that being said, I got 3 fights that I want to get y'all take on, and I'm gonna have my platform be a little bit different than some of the other platforms. We're not gonna be one-sided over here. We're not gonna be, and what I mean by that, just we're not gonna be one-dimensional. You know what I mean? Anybody can say who they favor to fight, which is fine. We'll still do that. Anybody can say who they like as a fighter, and that's fine. We'll still do that. But when I bring up these 3 fights, I want to get from you guys' opinions based off of your knowledge of the sport and knowledge of the fighters. What these are the things we want to get. All right. Who are you going for? As in, who do you want to win? Who do you think is going to win? Right? Because sometimes who we want to win and who we think is going to win may be 2 different things. Is that fair? And then I want to know, what does each of the fighters need to do in order to increase their chances of winning the fight? Did y'all follow me on that?
Got you. I got you.
All right. So who do you want to win versus who do you think is going to win? And what does each fighter need to do in order to increase their chances of winning the fight? So this is going to be the first fight we start out with. Give me a second here. We got these 2, and these are not fantasy fights. I'm not going to deal with fantasy fights at this moment. I want to do honor to fights that have been made. I want to do honor to fights where the athletes have come to the table, and the promoters involved and the networks involved have come to the table and put a fight together for fight fans. We're not going to be talking about, I want this guy to fight. What about this guy's a fight? He's ducking. Nah, these are the fights that are made. It is official as per the barbershop when Bob Aaron came on, that a fight between Vasily Lomachenko and Masayuki Nakatani has been made. So first, we're going to say, who do you want to win? Who do you think is going to win? And because this picture is up, we're going to say, what does Vasily need to do in order to win? All right. After we get everybody's take on what Vasily needs to do to win, then after that, we'll go to what Nakatani needs to do to win. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
All right, Sentos,
Yeah,
are
I
you
like
with us?
that.
Or you still got
Yeah,
job
I'm there.
stuff?
No, I'm
Okay,
here.
do you want to
I'm
go ahead
here.
and set us off? Go ahead.
Which I thought you were gonna call the fights out individually.
Oh, okay. I'll put a picture up. Y'all can't see the picture?
Oh, I wasn't looking. Okay.
Okay, my bad. For those who are not looking,
Okay,
the fight that I have up is Vasily Lomachenko versus Masayuki Nakatani.
Yeah, that guy.
Excuse me for butchering the names, because words and names matter, and I'm not being disrespectful to anybody. For anybody watching this on the replay, I want to do people respect, because we don't choose what culture and what race and what nationality and ethnicity we are born into. So with all due respects, I didn't mean to mispronounce the brother's name. Nakatani is the correct pronunciation. Now, go ahead, Sentos, take us off. Who do you think is going to win between these 2 fighters? And who do you want to win, and who do you think is going to win? Let's start there.
Well, from what I haven't seen as much of Nakatani as I have Loma, but what I have seen of Nakatani, I think Loma could get him. I think Loma is not going to wait like he did with Teofimo. I think his footwork, his quickness, his IQ, his toughness is going to prevail in the fight for him. I think all he needs to do is just be first and make Nakatani miss. And as far as and I prefer for him to win the fight, Lomo. As far as Nakatani, he's got to hurt Lomo, slow him down. In order to, I think he has he needs to get several knockdowns and hurt them, or he needs to knock out to beat Lomo, in my opinion. What was the other question?
Oh, you covered it. You said
Yeah, you covered everything.
you covered everything, and that's exactly how I want to go. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you want to win? And what does each fighter need to do in order to come away with the win? So you want to take it, Shelton or Hustler Holmes? Who's ready?
I'll take it.
Share your thoughts.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I want Nakatani to win, and I think Nakatani is going to win. I think Nakatani is too big for Lomachenko. I think Lomachenko is best served at 130. For Lomachenko to win, he'd have to use his speed, footwork, combination punching. Like Santos said, he hit on the nail, be first. And I think after the debacle he had with Tio, that's exactly what he's going to try to do. And I think but in trying to do that, he going to run into some shit that he's not expecting. This guy is tough. This guy's got up off the deck. This guy's proven to be tough. And if he fights tall and overpowers Lomachenko, he beats it.
Great breakdown. Double A,
Yeah,
Hustler Holmes, take it away.
yeah. Can y'all hear me? It's loud. I know it's loud, but I gotta take care of this business. But yeah, I agree, but I don't know. All right. Has Lomachenko fought a fighter as tall as Nakatani?
No.
Anyway, it don't matter. I think Lomachenko is going to win, and I hope Lomachenko is going to win for the better. Uh, in my opinion, Nakatani can win if he gains his range and all of that. But if you're familiar with Asiatic fighters, play back. Yeah. The thing about the Asiatic fighters is they got a little bit of Mexican, you know what I'm saying, Mexican tactics in them. They get hit a lot, you know what I'm saying? If this man lets Lomachenko get off on him, Lomachenko is going to make him look kind of foolish. And if Lomachenko goes in there and makes him look foolish, that's going to boost the 135-pound division because it's going to make the rematch between Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez an even bigger fight. This fight to me is a 60-40 Lomachenko. Lomachenko has good feet. Lomachenko boxing IQ is up there, and Nakatani he fights kind of tall. You know what I mean? With his head up, it's like when he throws his jab, it looks like he throws his jab similar to Ryan Garcia. He got some Ryan Garcia in him. You know what I'm saying? You know how Ryan Garcia, he got the speed of his hook, which is he can use as a buffer to stop he can use as a buffer on defense. Nakatani doesn't have that hook that he can use as a defensive tool. It's like use the offense as defense. He don't have that tool. So that's gonna be an interesting fight, man. I got it. I'm gonna change mine to 50. It's a 55-45 fight, and I'm gonna edge it to Lomachenko by decision.
Okay, great breakdown. Great points actually been made too. With me, I want Lomachenko to win, and I'm actually going for him to win because I think that if he loses, it would hurt him more so than it would hurt Nakatani at this point in his career. Nakatani is a person that could sustain the loss if he takes the loss because he's the younger fighter and the expectation is not as high for him to win as it would be for Lomachenko to win. And outside of that, I'm in the minority in a lot of people's opinion of Lomachenko being too small for 135. The way I look at it is, he's big enough. You know what I mean? He's big enough. Yes, he can make 130. and he actually should be able to make 130. And if he does, I think he can compete at that division. But I think he's also big enough to fight at 135 if he was big enough to become a unified champion at 135. Can't have it both ways. He can't be good enough to make it to the weight and be a unified champion at the weight. But then the first time he loses at the weight, now he's too small. That's just my take on it, in my opinion. When it comes to these two guys fighting each other, I think that, as you guys pointed out, Nakatani is going to have to use his advantages that are natural, which is his height and length. His reach has to play a factor, whether it's straight right hand, whether it's jab. Those things will have to be a major factor because, like you guys said, the style that he fights caters to him being hit, as we saw when he fought Verdejo. Verdejo was knocking him around the ring. Teofimo was able to hit him. And Lomachenko, being a masterclass boxer that he is, he's going to be able to figure out when and where he wants to attack Nakatani. And if Lomachenko gets in there and he feels that he can take Nakatani's punch, then I feel like he's going to be able to inch himself closer and closer using his jab as a range finder and his footwork that I believe is superior than Nakatani's to get close and into the range where he can get his own offense off and be able to attack Nakatani, whether it's with the straight left or moving, angling around him and pivoting around him to get some good hooks in. And because I know that Lomachenko likes to go to the body, I think that that might at some point start to frustrate Nakatani. So those would be the keys to victory for me for Lomachenko. And like I said, with Nakatani, he's going to have to use his youth to his advantage and his other natural God-given ability, which is his height and length. But in the past, we've seen lesser fighters be able to work their way close enough to hit Nakatani. And I'm thinking that Lomachenko should be able to do the same. And last but not least, I would want him to win because I want to see Gary Russell get a rematch with him before they both leave the sport, because I believe that Lomachenko's entire resume up to this point has been built on the fact that he got that win over Mr. Gary Russell Jr. early in his career, and a knockdown that should have been ruled a knockdown wasn't ruled a knockdown in that fight. And I believe that even without that knockdown, I felt that was a very close fight. And I could argue that Gary Russell won the fight without the knockdown. You know what I mean? And with the knockdown, I can argue that he won the fight. But that's just my opinion, because a lot of those rounds were closer than people think. And so that's why I would want Lomachenko to win, because if he loses, it would be damaging to him moving forward in the eyes of the boxing public. So people won't get the credit for beating him after the fact. You know what I'm saying? If he loses to Nakatani, then if a Devin Haney beats him, people are going to say, well, he lost to Teofimo Lopez and Nakatani. You know, if Gary Russell Jr. gets a shot at Lomachenko later, they're going to say he lost to Nakatani and Teofimo Lopez. And same thing that goes with Gervonta Davis. The next fight that has been made that is coming up, we want to go with the same stuff, is these guys. So who you want to win, who do you think is going to win, and what does each of them have to do in order to come out of there or increase their opportunity to win a fight? Go ahead, Santos. Santos, start us off. Or do y'all want to work? Do y'all want to work your way backwards? Because I hear some. Do you want to go, Shelton? Because I seen you already was out the gates. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go out.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Boots Ennis is the future from 47 to 54, maybe even to 60. This guy, to me, has all the tools. He's young, he's strong, he's aggressive, he's a very skilled boxer. He just has to fight his fight. And if he fights his fight, Lipinets is out of there within 5. Now, for Lipinets, we have never seen Ennis's chin tested. So Sergey would have to hit him with something to stop him and back him up. In my opinion, I don't think Lipinets has that kind of power. I know Lipinets is a tough guy. He's been in there with some tough guys. But I see Boots walking right through this guy and making a statement. Boots inside of 5.
Okay. Pretty much real similar to what my man Shelton just said. I got Jared. Jerron in this one. Jerron is too strong, too quick, has too much agility, a lot of power, a lot of heart. He's going to be first. Those are things that he must do as well, just like he's always done. But he's too any of those things for this young man, Lipinets. Lipinets, he's got hard, but we've seen he can be knocked out. I guess just about anybody can be knocked out if they hit right, but I don't think he gets off on Jerron as easily. Now, if he can, that's good for him, and he'll have a real good shot at making some noise there. But I don't see that happening because I don't think he's going to be able to take the power of Jerron and the quickness and footwork, the IQ of Jerron as well, and the dog that Jerron possesses within himself. Lipinets, in order for him to win, he needs to hurt Jerron. He needs to work on his footwork. He needs to not be so robotic. And I don't see him changing any of those things about himself. My man Jerron's going to win that fight. I like him to win that fight. I think he's going to win that fight. And I just, if anything differently happens, then I will be shocked. There may be a knockout, and there may not be, but more likely there's going to be a knockout. Which round, I don't know. Probably about what Mr. Shelton said, and I'm thinking somewhere between the 4th and the 6th round. If there is a knockout, it'll be Lipinets going down. And I just think Jerron is just too much for this guy. And now Jerron said that he's not going in there looking for the knockout, but if it presents itself, he's taking it. And I know that's what he'll do. So this is going to be a great fight to watch because we get to see the young man step up into a little bit stiffer competition. But I don't see this. I think this is a one-sided fight. Lipinets, he's a good fighter, but he ran into Mikey Garcia, and I don't think it's been the same since.
Yeah, I agree. Sergey Lipinets, he learned, it seemed like, all right, the thing about the European fighters and the Eastern European fighters, they fight. You know how you learn how to dance and steps? You know, you learn the waltz. There's definite steps of the waltz. You know what I'm saying? I think he learned, that's how they learned how to box. You know what I'm saying? There is no, the reason why you see in a lot of those fighters, there's no plan B is because they learned how to fight out of a textbook. And I feel like Jerron Boots Ennis already knew how to fight. He just learned how to box. You know what I'm saying? He's a natural. You know what I'm saying? He probably can dunk too. You know, even though he's kind of short. He's super athletic. He's smart. I just got to see. This is what I want to happen because I think I think Boots is gonna outright overpower him and beat him. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see that type of fight. I'm not that type of fan that want to go in there and watch somebody get blown out. I don't really think that the fighters that's doing the blowing out, they don't learn that much from going in there and walking through somebody. You know what I'm saying? For the sake of um for the sake of Jerron Boots Ennis' future, I really hope Sergey Lipinets kind of show him something and put him in a spot where he's never been before so he can get that from a Sergey Lipinets level opponent versus moving up to, like, let's say, hypothetically speaking, there's a Terrence Crawford level opponent. He don't want to learn that lesson in the ring with the Terrence Crawford level opponent. You know what I mean? He want to learn that lesson in the ring with a Sergey Lipinets. I thought when he fought, what's the young man he fought last time from South Africa? Oh man, the dude Earl Smith.
Van Heerden.
Van Herding, yeah. I thought that Van Herding was going to do the oppose that challenge, but Van Herding is he's gotten his inactivity and his losses took something out of him. You know what I'm saying? He headbutted the brother, man. He did it on purpose because he was getting overwhelmed. You know, he didn't show that type of non-discipline when he was getting smashed by Earl Spence Jr. because Earl Spence Jr. was taking him through the ringer. You know, so just in a nutshell, man, I got Jerron Boots Ennis by knockout in the third round, but I hope it goes to decision. Does that make sense?
Bro, I hear you.
No, that makes perfect sense to me because I think what you're saying is, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't speak for nobody but Tank. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you're saying is you would like to see Jerron Ennis get some rounds in with a very, very legit opponent.
Exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Facts. All right. And with me, I feel the same exact way. I'm going for Jerron Ennis. I think Jerron Ennis is going to win. And with that being said, Sergey Lipinets is a fighter who has not been knocked out. He's a fighter that has only lost one time, and we know who that was, Mikey Garcia, who is regardless of what we want to say, based off his last fight with Errol Spence Jr., Mikey Garcia has proven to be a technician in the sport at the time when he fought Lipinets. He was still taking the sport seriously and training. He hadn't had the big payday and I got a chance to talk to him before the Lipinets fight, and he was very, very focused on that fight when he was coming back to fight Lipinets. Lipinets is a fighter that you guys have, as you guys pointed out, that Eastern European style, who is going to be in your face. He is a fighter who comes to fight. He's what they would call a come forward fighter, but he's a fighter that is a durable fighter. So being that he's a durable fighter, he can take some pretty tough and hard punches. And Mikey Garcia, at the time when they fought, was considered one of the harder punchers at the division. Excuse me. And when you look at it from Sergey Lipinets' perspective, if I was coaching him, I would tell him to keep the pressure on Jerron Ennis. Don't smother your own punches, but stay active and busy, and don't let Jerron pot shot him. I would be practicing on cutting off the ring. I personally do not like when trainers and fighters have a full training camp, come out, have a fight, and then after the fight start to complain about the opponent, quote unquote, ran away, or the opponent was too elusive and couldn't move. Your job as a trainer, your job as a coach is to take away the advantages that the opponent has. If the advantage of the opponent is the footwork, pivoting, lateral movement, and mobility, then it's my job as a coach to train my fighter to take those things away, whether it be to cut off the ring, go to the body to take out some of that stamina so that they can't move around that much. And that's what I would do with Lipinets. And with the goal being to drag it out as long as the fight can go. If you can get to the point to where you can hurt a Jaron Ennis, if that's possible, then, go for the knockout, because in a fight where Jaron Ennis is projected to be the next big star in boxing, as you brothers pointed out, you don't want to risk it going to the scorecards if you are Sergey Lipinets. Now, on the flip side of that, Jaron Boots Ennis is what we would call a pure boxer. He is an athletic boxer, and he comes out of the style and the region where some of the best fighters that we've ever seen come out of. And that style that he uses is a style that has taken many champions or many boxers to championship level, and it looks like he's going to be the next guy that it does, being that this is an IBO welterweight world championship fight. The last time we saw that was when he fought Van Heerden, and to me, I look at that fight a little bit different. I do believe that Van Heerden was trying to, or he found a way to get out of that fight, but at the same time, I felt that Jaron Ennis had it within his power to avoid that happening had he paced himself a little bit better and mastered the range a little bit better. Because to be aggressive doesn't mean that you have to step in with your shots the way he was doing at the end of that fight. He could have kept Van Heerden at the end of his punches. Those are things that he has learned over his period of time fighting, and I believe he has 26 fights or something along those lines. So he's had enough fight experience. He's been an amateur long enough to fight these different styles, so he knows what he needs to do. It's just a matter of getting in there and doing what he needs to do at the right time. Some of that was bad timing. Van Heerden was coming forward while Jaron Ennis was coming forward, and their heads clashed, and that was what it was. But in this fight, I would say that if I'm coaching Jaron, I would tell him, go to the toolbox. Go to the toolbox, open that bad boy up, and get your entire repertoire ready to fight this guy, because this is a guy who does not let you knock him out. He can take a punch. So if you're going to get the knockout, you're going to earn that knockout. You're going to have to earn it. So use your jab first, foremost, and often. Use it as a range finder. Use it to the body as a weapon. Use it up top. Make sure you change the angles. Make sure you're able to hook off the jab, because he's going to come forward. He's going to come in there with his head down if he feels like he can take your power. Because for him, fighters like Sergey Lipinets, they think that nobody can knock them out until they get knocked out. So be prepared to hook off that jab. Be prepared to pivot and use all of your athletic attributes that you have, because Jaron Ennis does have great feet, and he's been shown to have great lateral movement and elusive head movement. I would say keep him at the end of your jab. Like I said, come in with that hook if you need to. And with the right hand, don't be afraid to move it up and down. Mix in some hooks. And at the end of the day, this fight, I believe that the punch that is going to be most open for Jaron will be his uppercuts, right-handed or left-handed, because of the way that Lipinets comes in with his head down when he gets in close. Don't be afraid to tie the fighter up when he gets too close, and be patient, because the patience is what's going to win it in the end. And I believe that the patience costed him that Van Heerden fight. He could have been more patient than he was. So that's my thing for Jaron Ennis in terms of the fight, the way it plays out. He could either go to the body You know, as they say, then the head will follow. Or he could um, take this fight into the deep round so he can get some rounds under his belt, which he may be forced to do so anyway because of the caliber of fighter that Lipinets is, and that probably will work out better for him anyway. And I see him winning at least 8 of those rounds if he can do the things that I just said. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 7-5 because I feel that Lipinets is a durable fighter, but Ennis is a fighter that has the skill that's capable to win at least 8 of 12 rounds, if not by a knockout. So that's my take on that. And last but not least, the third fight that has been made that I want to talk about this morning before we get out of here is this one. Devin the Dream Haney versus Jorge Linares for the WBC lightweight title. This is Devin Haney's step-up fight. My bad, I'm gonna have to mute you real quick, Sheldon. Devin the Dream Haney versus Jorge Linares is Devin Haney's quote-unquote step-up fight. This is the fight that Bob Arum named by name that he needed there to see Devin Haney in before he can give Devin Haney a shot at Lomachenko. This is the fight that many boxing brains were saying would be a great test for Devin Haney if they could make the fight. And this is a fight versus a fighter who is not going to be enamored or afraid of fighting Devin Haney. And he's going to come to fight Devin Haney. And he knows that if he can beat Devin Haney, that's going to put him back in the position that he wants to be in his career amongst the top names at the lightweight division. So which one of you guys want to go first and break this down? Who you think is going to win? Who do you want to win? And what does each guy need to do in order to come away with the win?
Who's going first? You want me to start?
Go ahead, Santos.
Whoever starts, the rest of us are going to mute our mics because I'm getting a little bit of feedback in the.
You know what I'm saying? I think Jorge Linares got a little chip on his shoulder because we, including myself, I would say we, like I done heard y'all say, which I didn't. I think that like the public think that Devin gonna come in here and wash him. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of agree with that. But I just don't want Dev to come in to think he got to prove this point to, because you know when Devin try to knock out somebody to try to prove a point, he's wide open, like he throws these looping crazy hooks. He's like he gets wild. You know what I'm saying? If he stay with the game plan, stay tight, I don't see nothing Jorge Linares could do with Devin the Dream Haney, man. But, unless Jorge Linares, he has the IQ. This could possibly be the matches. This fight could possibly give the fan the information they need about Devin's boxing IQ. You know what I'm saying? Jorge Linares has been in with some pretty ridiculously good fighters. He haven't beaten nobody up there, but I think like when you get in the ring with an elite fighter, you learn something. You learn a lot. You learn a lot about yourself, especially if it's like a beat down. You know what I'm saying? Especially, or if it's a close fight, you learn a lot when you get in the ring with the elite. And Jorge Linares has been in with the elite. Devin the Dream Haney, when he's on his game, I feel like he has a very, very good professional style. It seems like he read the Floyd book and he studied the Floyd book and he did a great job, because a lot of people talk about, as far as defense, because when people talk about Floyd Mayweather, they forget about his hand speed and his hand accuracy. You know what I'm saying? I want to see if Devin Haney's accuracy and his hand speed translate to this level of competition, because like when he beat up, he actually surprised me when he beat up the brother from the Spanish brother that everybody said was old, the Torres Achilles, and it's so early in the morning, I be forgetting these dudes. Gamboa.
Gamboa.
Yeah, Gamboa. He surprised me by watching Gamboa because Gamboa is a gold medalist. Gamboa is also a multiple division champion. Gamboa at one point in time was the future of boxing. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, Gamboa's IQ in my mind kept him surviving. You know what I'm saying? He knew when to fold and he knew when to hold. That's why he lasted 12 rounds against Devin the Dream Haney, because he completely stopped fighting, you know. And Linares, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna listen to y'all on how y'all think Linares can win, but I think if he could win, it's got to be by guts and ring IQ. Because Devin Haney is accurate, he's fast, he got feet, he got defense. But they just hope he better not go in there, like I said, trying to prove a point, swinging all wild and crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's my take on it.
Now, what we're gonna do is on my channel is people always talk about they got boxing knowledge and they got boxing info and they got boxing IQs. You put yourself in a coaching position. You're Linares' coach. What do you tell your fighter as the coach of Linares what he needs to do to win? We can go from channel to channel and hear people say, "Oh, this person's gonna kick this person's ass, and this person has no chance of winning." We hear that all day. But on this channel, we're gonna say what we need to do. If I'm the coach, if he came to you with a bag and said, "Hustlers Holmes, I need you to coach me," what does Hustler Holmes tell Linares?
Oh yeah, I like this right here. Okay. What would Coach Hustler say to Linares? Oh, facts. Okay. I would take advantage of the fact that Devin Haney's a young guy. You know what I'm saying? Young guys are pretty wiry, especially a young undefeated champ that everybody's calling Floyd Mayweather. You gotta first of all, you got in the press conference, I'll tell my fighter to poke at his pride. You know what I'm saying? Black men have true black men has very, very strong pride. Poke at him, make him pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Once he get in that ring, all right, hold him, get him pissed off. Because once a young fella that's that talented and that wiry gets pissed off, there is no such thing as a game plan. You know, we just seen coaches smacking them and yelling at their fighter. That's not a part of the game plan. Get him hot, get him bothered, and then you gotta hope, just make it rough and dirty. Because we never seen Devin Haney in a rough and dirty fight. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like since he's so young, that could be one of the things that it could possibly break Devin Haney, because young fighters usually break when they're pissed off and when they fighting against a tough opponent that they can't get out of there. You know what I'm saying? But I would take a Sean Porter approach to a person like Devin the Dream Haney. I would take that approach to him. You know what I mean? Get in his chest. You know, Jorge Linares' feet, natural talent doesn't amount to what Devin Haney can do. So I would have Jorge Linares try to cut the ring off. You know what I'm saying? And punch with Devin Haney. Don't let him throw no jab without nothing. Don't let him throw no combination punches without nothing. Don't be afraid of him. Be the veteran. Get in his ass. Get in his chest, and keep him frustrated. Hold him. Up until the ref is like making you stop holding him. You know what I'm saying? Make it a dirty fight. I'm not saying take no cheap punches or nothing like that, but make it a downright dirty fight and see what this young fella has. And it would be up to Devin Haney's guts to instead of his skill. It would be up to his guts to win that fight. And I think that's the way Jorge Linares has to approach his fight with Devin Haney.
Great breakdown. That's exactly what I was looking for, King. That's what I'm talking about. As a coach, the fight starts once the fight is signed. When the fight is signed, the brother Hustler Holmes broke it down. Start playing the psychological game first. If you can win a psychological battle, then you can get in there and do all the physical stuff next. Who wants to go? Who wants to cook on that next?
You want to go, Silver? You want me
Yeah,
to go?
I'll go ahead. I was in the military. I was in the military, right? I was in the infantry. So one of the things we used to do is when we go up against the enemy, we try to show overwhelming force to take away the belief that they can win. Devin Haney has all the tools to be a great champion, but he hasn't been tested. Jorge Linares is what, a three division world champion? Am I right? Hello?
I'm not sure. I lost track of Linares when he started losing, so I'm
He's a
not
three,
sure.
he's a three
That
division world.
that sounds about right though.
Yes, he's a three division world champion. So Jorge Linares needs to, just like Hustler Holmes said, start at the press conference. Start there. Start taking away the belief that he can win. Talk about his championships, the fighters he's been in. Tell Haney you've never been in with a fighter like me. You've never seen what I can bring to the table. Because Jorge Linares is talented. He's 35 years old, but he's talented. When we get to the fight, pressure him, press him. Now we know that Jorge's been down and Jorge's been knocked out. But Jorge can fight, and he does have heart. So just like Hustler Holmes said, he needs to press Haney, push him, take away space, stay in his chest, try to cut the ring off on him, be a pressure fighter, bring pressure. Because he can't, I do not believe he can outbox Haney. But he has to rough him up and make him start to doubt that he can win. If he does these things, he has a shot. Haney, on the other hand, has all the tools and he has the youth. The only question I have is he hasn't been tested. Let's see what happens. But I got Haney gutting this out. I got a 12-round decision for Devin Haney.
Great stuff. Great stuff. I think we lost Hustler Holmes. Let me make sure he didn't. Let me make sure that he don't need the link. Damn, great points, man. Because Linares has all those tools that you pointed out, and he ain't gonna go in there afraid to try to excuse me, quote unquote test the what do they call it? Test the hype. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And we're not saying that Devin Haney's a hype job. I'm saying that if you're coaching Linares, that's what you tell him. You be like, you know what? We don't believe that he could do all that. We don't believe he's all that good. So let's go in there and test it. Great point, bro. You want to jump on that, Centos?
Yeah, I'm ready. Trying to watch this truck next to me. I'm gonna put this big horn on if he don't straighten up.
Hey, and
All
if
right,
ever y'all need time, you just let us know because safety first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Linares has a lot of attributes that he brings to the fight. He's got speed. He's got a little power. He's got agility. He's not a bum. He's a good fighter. But he's going to need all those things in order to win the fight against my man Devin. He's going to have to be first. He's going to have to use combos. He's going to have to apply power to apply some pain and hurt Devin. I don't see him knocking Devin out, but he's going to have to hurt him and keep him hurt in order to win that fight. I don't think he'll win the fight, though. I see Devin coming out victorious in this fight. He's got great footwork. He's got a high IQ for the fight, just like his opponent. I think Devin may have a little bit more power. Thinking about what he did to a guy a few fights ago. And I think Devin's going to give him angles. He's going to give him footwork. And he's going to he's going to keep him on the end of his punches, and I think he's going to get the KO. I think this is going to be a coming out party for Devin when he knocks this guy out. Lomachenko wasn't able to knock him out, and he's won a few fights, since then. That as far as Linares, but I think Devin gets the knockout. I don't think his coaches are going to be able to persuade him to do anything different than what he's done before in order to win the fight against Devin. He's not going to. I never known him to talk a good fight game before the fight. So he's getting his lunch taken. His lunch is going to be taken from him, and but it's going to be a situation where he's expecting himself to lose already. He wants to win, but he knows everyone's expecting him to lose, and he knows his kid Devin is good. So that's pretty much how I think the fight is going to go. And Devin just got to do what Devin does. But I think if Devin sits down on his punches a little bit when he gets him hemmed up, he could get his knockout. And that's the way I feel in my heart is going to go.
So you and to be clear, you want Devin to win, and you think Devin is going to win.
Yeah, I think he's winning, and I want him to win. Forgot to say I want him to win, but yeah.
That's crucial because we want to get those perspectives. You know what I'm saying? I want to know.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times that's not the same thing. You know what I mean? What do they say?
Absolutely.
We think with our heart one thing, and we think with our mind and our boxing knowledge or whatever another thing. And I want people to be comfortable to be able to give those different perspectives and thoughts.
Yeah,
and
say what they feel and what they think.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We want to be our own. Have our own mindset, and be able to be respected for having our mindset, even if it's not the same as someone else's.
Right.
And when it comes to this fight, this is a fight that I've wanted to see for a while. This is a fight that I personally think is an excellent fight for Devin to move up in terms of his competition to face a fighter who has won multiple weight classes and has been able to get in the ring with some top talent. We're talking about a guy who, this guy is one that set down Lomachenko when he first came to 135. This is a guy who has, in Linares, who has deceptive hand speed. And like everyone's talking about, he's not a guy who lacks in boxing skill, right? The knock against Linares is that he has been knocked out or stopped, or however you want to phrase it, in each of the fights that he's lost. I believe he has 5 losses, and each one of those, I believe he's probably been stopped.
That's right. Lomachenko did stop him. I forgot about that. He did stop him.
Yeah, he got up off the canvas.
With a body shot. He got him with a body shot. I was thinking that was just a knockdown, but that's right. He stopped.
Right. And this is a great fight for Devin because I believe that Linares is going to come to fight him. I don't think that Linares is going to come with the idea or the game plan of just trying to hang around Devin Haney and just last. Now, that may change once the fight starts, but the key to the victory for Devin Haney is his greatest weapon outside of his boxing acumen, which is his jab. Devin Haney has one of the best jabs, or one of the better jabs in boxing. He can use it as an educated jab, and he can use it as a weapon. He has the reach to do both, and he has the skill set to do both. He's going to have to use his legs. He's going to have to use his feet. He's going to have to use his entire repertoire because he's fighting a guy who I believe is going to go in there and not give him any respect in terms of his ability to punch. I believe that Linares is going to go in there believing the quote unquote hype that a lot of fans say, which is that he cannot punch. And if that's the case, he's going to be able to uh, uh, make it a tough fight for Devin. But um, I think that Devin is going to be able to, um, or Devin is going to need to be able to utilize his natural advantages, which is his hand speed and athleticism, um, because Linares is going to be in there to try to use a similar style that Jose Luis Castillo used against Floyd Mayweather. That's what I'm guessing. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. And so Devin is going to have to be able to utilize his legs, utilize his movement, hook off that jab. He's going to have to test and see where that right hand is after being broken for the fight versus Gamboa. And in this fight, he's going to have to put his thinking cap on because there's going to be times when this fight is going to go off of the game plan in the sense that it's not going to look as pretty as he wants it to. And it's a great thing that he fought Yuriorkis Gamboa, because Yuriorkis Gamboa was able to tie Devin Haney up at times and force Devin Haney to throw short uppercuts in close range in that phone booth, trying to break up the tie up. Now, with that being said, if I'm trying to coach Linares, I'm going to tell Linares to use that same style that Jose Luis Castillo used against Mayweather, or Marcos Maidana tried to use against Mayweather when he fought him in the first fight, which is try to smother Devin Haney and make him uncomfortable, try to tie him up as much as possible, the same way Yuriorkis Gamboa did, and he needs to be able to get in Devin's head before the fight starts, whether it's by calling him a fake paper champion, an email champion, or by going the other route and saying, you are the real champion, you are the best fighter, and trying to play it up to, because sometimes you can, what they call it, you can tell your opponent that they're great, right? So that they can become overconfident in what they do. So, or you can tell them that they suck, which is going to try to get their anger out of them, so that they come off of the game plan that they have and fight off anger instead of intelligence. And I believe that he has to pick one of those ways and try to get in that head, try to get him psychologically, and then get in there and make him uncomfortable, smother the punches in a way that the judges don't see punches landed clearly. I'm going to tell him we're going to be working on cutting off the ring. We're going to be working on taking away the excuse of the guy ran all night. Linares is going to have to come in there in the best shape of his life, because Devin Haney lives in the gym, and we all know that. So Linares is going to have to go in there with more than the idea of, I'm going in here to knock him out and the puncher's chance. So to me, that's what he needs to do. But to me, most people know that I'm a fan of Devin Haney. And so I am wanting him to win, and I think he's going to win. And this fight, I could see going all 12 rounds, and Devin Haney winning probably about 9 of those rounds. The last fight he fought, I don't think he lost a damn second of a round. And I could argue that in most of the fights that he's had so far, he's barely lost any moments of those rounds that he's been in. But this fight, I kind of see differently, because it's a step-up fight. I think it's going to be a fight to where he's going to have to push himself I think it's going to be a fight to where he's going to be in there with a veteran fighter who knows how to make a fight look mucky and ugly, like let's say like a Bernard Hopkins looking fight. And Devin Haney's going to have to go into that that chest, man. He's going to have to go into that war chest and go into that repertoire and bring out some of that inside fighting. If there was ever a fight for Devin Haney to showcase his body punching ability and his inside fighting game, it's going to be this one, because I believe that the game plan or the playbook will be to tie him up and to make it look mucky, to smother his punches so he doesn't look crisp. And if he can overcome that and fight in the phone booth, a la Andre Ward, then he's going to increase his chances of winning this fight in an impressive fashion. And he can be a guy who can also stop Linares if he can get in there and get some good punches to the liver, some good body shots to set up everything. But that's my take on it, on this fight. I hope it's going to be a great fight. I hope he gets the credit for the fight. If he wins, we all know that Linares is going to get the credit if he wins. But that's all I got for right now. I appreciate everybody who came in, jumped on the panel, talked with us, and chopped it up. Anybody got some closing words, please go ahead and give them.
I just want to say thank you for the platform, brother. I just subscribed, and I'll be following you. Thanks a lot. I appreciate the talk. Good boxing talk.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to thank you for the time, and also providing the platform, and of course the conversation, all the content, and as well as the company. I definitely always appreciate that. But yeah, it was a good mature panel, and we can just keep it going. Not right now, but I mean, for the future.
Facts. I want to take time to shout out the chat. I really appreciate y'all coming in and rocking with us on this early Friday morning. Shout out to LT, Eli Zachary. I think I saw Patricia Shelton in here. Gregory X, D-Lo Boxing, 404. Who else did I see up here? Let me scroll and see who I got in here. Birdman. That's what I want to say. Birdman and H Money, who stepped in. Birdman, please be safe driving. I know you said you was listening while you was driving. And last but definitely not least, my brother, South Central Zone, King of LA, D mother effing B. You know what I'm saying? What would DB do? And to the panel that came on tonight, Hustlers Home, who had to bounce, Shelton Moore, and Centos Boxing. Please be safe while you out there on the road, King. You know what I'm saying? Everything is about safety. You know what I mean? All this other stuff that we do, talking sports and all this other kind of stuff, that's all secondary. But we need to be able to be safe because life is fragile. And you know what I mean? We want to be able to always get back to our family, friends, and loved ones. I appreciate y'all company. I appreciate y'all contribution. Salute to everybody that's going to be listening on the playback, who's going to get up this morning and realize, damn, Tank went live. Yeah, I did. I had to go live today because these brothers be rocking with us every night, every morning, and they be on this third shift grinding and be on these roads and be in these warehouses putting in work. And we want to give them something that they can have the vibe to while they out there. You know what I mean? With that being said, we want to always give respects and blessings to these guys who go in here and in combat sports and put their livelihood on the line. Yes, they do it for money as prize fighters, but they also do it for our entertainment. And always, I want to show respect to them, whether I personally like them or if I don't like them, if I rock with their style or if I don't rock with their style. The fact of the matter is they're doing what they're doing and they're providing entertainment for me. So I appreciate that. And with that being said, you already know what it is when y'all come over here, man. It's Tank the Sweet Science Examiner, and we just talking boxing. And if they get mad at you, just tell them Tank said it. All right. Peace.
Peace, brother.
Peace.